this month may not be your month, but your month will come. Hi guys, my name is andiswa.mojapelo and welcome back to another video, or welcome to my channel if it is your very first time. I really do hope that you like it here and you decide to stay. We chat about all things related to managing our money, achieving that financial freedom, and adulting in general. So guys, today is a Sunday sit down video. So I want to share with you guys something that I picked up in my first read for the year. So you guys know that I am getting back into reading this year, and I recently finished my first book that I enjoyed thoroughly, and I'm definitely going to be reading this again. And if you know me, you know that I don't like repeating books or movies or anything like that, but I really, really did enjoy this Bamboozled by Jesus by Yvonne Orji. So that's the book that I'm going to be talking about today. Not the actual book, but the story that I got from there that I really wanted to share with you guys, because I felt like I got a lot of insight, and I had some aha moments when I was reading that story. And basically, a background of the book, in case you're interested, is Yvonne Orji's book. She writes about her life, of how she started off wanting to become a medical doctor and she ended up as a professional comedian. And the way that it all happened and the way that it all unraveled itself, her purpose that is, in her life was honestly just like a bag of tricks. There's so many things that God did with, through, by her, for her, in this entire life. Stage or cycle of hers that brought her to where she is. But she speaks about how she feels like God tricked her into living the life of her dreams, because in hindsight, when she looks back, everything that happened, even though it was challenging and not the best, it needed to happen at that time to get her to where she is at the moment. So the book follows her life and all the life lessons. And she makes a lot of reference to the Bible, which she refers to as the good book, in her lessons and what she drew energy from and inspiration from, etc. So that is the book, just for a bit of context for those who are interested. The story that I wanted to share is about the vineyard and the laborers in the vineyard, right? And this is a story from the Bible. For those who are interested in reading further, I will link the verse that it comes from. And basically, what the story is, and I'm going to paraphrase and summarize, right? Because I want us to get to what I got out of the story more than the story itself, which you can also read in your own time. So the story is, there was this man who had a vineyard and he needed some work done on it, right? So he went out to find laborers to do this work. And he was offering 1 silver coin for a day's work to anybody who came to help him. That was the going rate, right? So the first group of workers came in at around 9 a.m. in the morning to start working, right? So let's say it's like 2 or 3 workers. Then he probably realized that, there's more work to be done. And then he increased the number of people. And then the number of people that he obviously needed increased. And then he went to get more at around 11 or 12 o'clock. And then he got more in the afternoon. And then he went back to get more at 3 p.m. and then more at 5 p.m. Towards the evening as well. So then by the end of the day, everybody had worked a day's work, but obviously a different amount of hours because they came in at different times. So now it was pay time, I would say payday, but they worked for a day. So it was pay time, right? And everybody was ready and excited to receive their silver coin, which is what they were working towards. So the gentleman that employed these people started by paying the ones who came in last, right? Who came in the afternoon and then later after that. So he actually gave them 1 silver coin, like a full day's pay. So when the laborers who had come earlier than that saw the wage that these guys were getting, they were like, "What? These guys are getting 1 silver coin and they only came in the afternoon." Then obviously, that means that we're going to get way more than that, right? So the expectation started building up, the assumption started building up. So then he finishes paying the ones that came in the afternoon, and now it's their turn to receive their wage. So then they receive, guess it, they receive 1 silver coin as well. So then, they are immediately obviously aggravated. confused and angry. And then the gentleman is like, but what's wrong? And then like, but we obviously expected to get more since we had been working for longer. And then the gentleman is like, but was I not fair in my pay? Did I not give you what I had promised you, which was one silver coin? And they were like, yes, you had promised us one silver coin, but then, you gave everybody else, one silver coin. And he's like, exactly. Perhaps my only, fault in your eyes is the fact that I was generous to the ones who came in later by giving them a full day's wage. But I was not any less generous to you because I gave you what, the agreement was. And you seemed fairly happy about what you were going to get paid up until the point where you realized other people were getting the same amount for less. So that is the essence of the story, right? And what the author wanted to show us there is the fact that God's grace and favor is also needs to be factored into our daily lives. So yes, we work hard. Yes, we give in what we need to, but the rewards are not always the same. There is also God's favor and grace that is factored in the rewards. And sometimes, God's grace and favor will fall on you at that point in time, and you will get the grace and the favor of getting more than what you've put in. And sometimes it will not be your turn. And sometimes you come in very early at work, you put in the hours, but still get the same as the person who came in the middle of the month or towards the end of the month. It doesn't mean that your reward is any less. It just means that God's grace and favor fell on that person at that specific time. You may have also gotten God's favor and grace, but maybe in a different way on the same day or the same thing at a different time. And for me, I felt like that story was very powerful. And as I was reading through it, so many things came through my mind. Like I was comparing it to my corporate life, I was comparing it to my relationships that I have with people and my life in general, because another thing that I got out of the story was the fact that we are so quick to undervalue our goals and our blessings when we realize that other people are at different stages in their lives. So what do I mean by that? So I may pray to move out of home and get my own apartment, and that is my prayer and that is what I want. And then that is what I work towards because maybe even that is my affordability, right? And I work towards that. And once I achieve it, great. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself up until a point that I go to work and my colleague tells me that they bought their first apartment. Now, all of a sudden, even though I felt very grateful of what I had achieved for myself based on my affordability and where I'm at and what I wanted, it's all of a sudden undervalued because, my colleague has bought an apartment. Therefore, I am not as good enough, or I don't think what I have is as valuable. And we tend to do that a lot in our lives across various things, whether it's competing at work, with colleagues and all of those things. And again, what I got from that is value what you have, appreciate the blessing you have, appreciate what you have prayed for and what is in your lane and what you have set out to achieve without necessarily like peeking next door at, but what do they have? And once you realize that they also got the same thing or they got a bit more than you, then all of a sudden you look back and you say, well, what I have is not good enough, or I haven't done enough, or I haven't worked hard enough. Because often, that puts us in a place of not having gratitude. So basically being ungrateful or undervaluing, like I said, what we've achieved. The other thing that I got from that as well is the fact that expectations will kill you. Expectations will kill you if you don't already know. They will kill you when it comes to managing relationships. They will kill you when it comes, to what you set out to achieve. Always make sure that you manage your expectations. You put in what you can, but you do put in that buffer of, you know what, I may give this individual, now we're in the relationship context, I may give this individual my time, I may give this individual my effort, I may even, give this individual my money for certain things, but I should be mindful of expecting that I'm going to get the direct return or I'm going to get exactly what I've put in, because that can really, really cause us to be at a disadvantage. And what else she speaks about in the book, which I think is very important, coming to what I got from this, is the fact that it's not to say that we shouldn't work hard. It's not to say that we shouldn't put in enough effort or the equal amount of effort or even more effort than everybody else. But it's to one understand that, God's grace and favor also has a part to play, and that we all have it. It's just that it might not be, made seen in that specific instance in your life. God's grace and favor may be you being alive today. It may be you missing that car accident that you were supposed to get. It may be you getting a bonus. It may be you having a healthy baby. So it doesn't mean that, because you didn't get that specific instance of favor or grace, that you are at a huge disadvantage. And it also shouldn't draw you away from, seeing your favor and your grace at its time, when the time is right. So, guys, there's lots of lessons to honestly learn, from this book and how she learned it. But this story specifically really touched me because, I would hate to think that I work towards things and I set out my goals, and I know what I want to achieve, and then when I achieve them, as opposed to celebrating what I achieved, I then ponder on what the next person has achieved, what they've done that I wasn't able to do, and then start undervaluing my effort and what I've done. So I know that I speak a lot about financial content, saving money, paying off debt, and all of those things, which is super important. But just even in that, like, be grateful of what you can for what you can do. Try, and even though it's not what the next person is doing, even though you're not debt free yet, even though you feel like you're still struggling at the end of the month, even though you've made those sacrifices, this month may not be your month, but your month will come. And your win this month might be spending less than last month. It might not be making it, it might be spending less. So just don't miss, counting those as wins. Yes, you might not have that apartment, you might not have the corner office, you might not have it all figured out in your career, in your relationship, you might not have that stability, but you have what you have. Just don't focus on the lack. Don't focus on what the next person has and what your friend has, and what the people around you in your age group are doing, so much that you lose sight of God's favor and grace in your life. So, guys, thank you for making it, to the end. I really do hope that if you can relate to the story the way that I did, that it does shift your mindset a bit or get you asking yourself some questions. And if it does, please let me know in the comment section. I would really appreciate it. I want to do more of these sit down, random, chats about anything and everything on the channel. Obviously, the core will still be personal finance, but I do understand that around managing your money is also life happening, and we can't ignore that or not discuss it. And if there's certain things that are shifting my perspective and improving me as an individual, I'm definitely going to share it with you guys. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a huge thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.